Welcome back to the CheckSwing Podcast, y'all. Uh-oh. I think Rob volume might be too loud. My bad. Welcome back. Welcome back to the CheckSwing Podcast, y'all. With myself, with Coach Santa, the brains and brawn of the show, and the Hall of Famer, Rob Battle. We are back for yet another Tuesday night. Talk about some things, sports and coaching and all those type things with you. Just having an interesting conversation with Coach Santa about one of his players and two of his players. And I'm not going to go into the details of the story, but I once did tell somebody to do what you know, and I did that because my college coach, I remember him doing that once, and he didn't do it, and I told him I should have never told him to do it. So now that like Rob's like, what the hell are these guys talking about? I gotta ask y'all how y'all been, man. Welcome back to the show. How's it going, y'all?
It's going.
Well, it's going well. It's going well. Solid weekend. Great start to the week. This morning I don't want to start a topic, but I'll just say this. Because I was away so long, I don't think I was attached to the information, but my wife sent me this post about Karl Malone. And I'm like, it just hit a nerve this morning because I'm like, why do I feel like this was all swept on the rug? The fact that this man's a pedophile.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand that. I don't understand why the NBA hasn't detached himself. Like, he wouldn't get any invites to 75th anniversary, nothing. He doesn't get to come around anymore. Like that, I was just really hot this morning. That's how I started my day.
To piggyback off of what you're saying, if you don't want to get more pissed off, don't watch the Pete Rose documentary.
Oh my goodness! This man banned for life. Forget he didn't even commit a crime. This man committed a crime.
But there's a segment of it because in 2000, I want to say 16 or 17, there was a person that came out with a story that alleges that Pete Rose had a intimate affair with a 14-year-old.
Oh my God!
Now, normally, if you were accused of something like that, you would vehemently deny, blah, 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 blah. But it's his response. Pete Rose responds like a Donald Trump. There has to be a family lineage there. He's like, what do I care about something that happened 40 years ago? That's not the response to having sex with a 14-year-old and you were almost 40 at the time. Now you're getting me off.
40 years ago.
Whatever. They said
I'm asking you, what you...
He was.
I don't know if you said 4 or 40.
40.
40. Okay.
Yeah, and actually I take that back. He was about 35. It doesn't make it any better, but it was one of those. The documentary is when. Do you remember when Pete Rose was invited back to Philadelphia? It was one of those anniversaries or whatever, and it was like a big story. It was the first time he was back in Philadelphia in like decades since he was banned.
Yeah.
And everybody thought he can't mess this up. So apparently a female reporter asked him about that accusation, and his response was, "Hey, baby, like, what are we talking about? Like, what happened in the past?" So it was interesting to watch the documentary and see his responses. That some of the responses were just so like careless and so like. Just not like he just didn't care, you know what I mean? He just believes he should be in baseball. and who cares about what's happened in the past? I'm like, but I mean, sleeping with a 14-year-old is kind of serious.
Oh, I don't
Carl
agree.
Carl Malone's story is like worse.
It's
So
Well,
worse
yeah, I
because
see it.
because then they said he was required to pay $125 a week, $500 a month. You a multi-millionaire in the NBA, and he refused. Are you
he
At what
denied it
top of you
until recently.
on top of you being a pedophile? You gonna be a deadbeat too, bro? Like, man, listen. Here's my thing. If anybody else, it's like non-negotiable. These people go to jail and they get raped and beat the crap out of. And anybody going there, they drag them through the mud. It's like the most unforgivable thing. But apparently, this guy gets some type of pass. I don't get it.
And here's his response to the report, quote unquote, quote, as players, we hear what's written about us or said about us. I'm not discussing any of that backlash. I don't care. That's my life. That's my personal life. And I'll deal with that like I've had to deal with everything. So whatever. Ooh, I want to punch him.
Yeah. Then he tried to holler at Kobe like when she was a young buck. He liked him. Yeah, he probably still doing it. I guarantee you, he's still doing it.
Now did he get that girl pregnant? Isn't that's
Yes, that
Yes,
that,
sir.
that kid that's in the NFL
and
is his. He's just now claiming his kid.
yeah,
He's in the
he's just now
NFL.
claiming the kid. He denied it all that time.
Oh
Now
man, I can't.
let me say this because I agree with you wholeheartedly, Rob. Let me just preface this by saying I agree with you with everything you just said. But if he's going to lie about it, he can't pay. You can't lie about it on one hand and pay at the
You
same
can't
time.
do
Like
both. You can't be
he
both.
had to fess up. He fesses up. He goes to jail. He shouldn't have did it.
Oh, I
Stay
get
out.
it.
Stay out. Stay away from a
True.
14. I have a 14-year-old living with me. You know what I mean? My daughter's 14.
Like, can you imagine that? Can you imagine some 30-something-year-old
He ain't
or
gonna make it.
whatever he was at the time?
He ain't
Not,
gonna
not
make it.
not to be political, but there's a reason why child wives are still technically legal in like 14 states.
What's it called?
Child brides.
Oh, really?
Mhm. So like obviously to us, like
Utah might be one of those states.
I'm just saying, but like but didn't Larry Bird have a past, and Sean Kemp? We know he's probably populated half of the South or whatever. So aren't there a couple players that kind of, I guess they managed to stay out of the young zone or
Mm,
whatever.
as long as they're
Uh,
not
as,
pedophiles.
as long as they were, yeah, out here pedophiling, some
13 years
babies.
old. 13 years old. That's
That's not even high school. Yeah, that kid's still in middle school.
Hmm, never mind. I'm
It's
sorry.
crazy.
I about to take the show somewhere totally different.
but I'm okay though.
Yeah. See, yeah, bro, I got two girls man over here.
Right. So it hits different, right?
He came in
It
hot.
hits different.
I came that touched the nerve this morning. That's how I've been.
And it would touch the nerve with you because you have one or two girls.
I got two girls, 3 and 10.
Two girls. Like seriously? Like I understand like because we've been talking about this even at work. Like okay, 14-year-olds today don't look like they did yesterday. But even the 14-year-olds of yesterday are like obviously 14. Even if you put a crap load of makeup on
Mm,
it, they look 14.
it's the man. Listen, I don't want to get into all that, but it's the they slowly killing us with the food that they're trying to push down our throats. Man. All the processed foods and seed oils and dyes and food coloring and and the sad part about it is they know exactly what they're doing because those same products when they have to go to another country they eliminate those ingredients because that crap don't fly over there.
Wasn't there
I
like
never
a couple just got banned in like England and in Japan or whatever.
Yeah.
That's our basic
What was
whatever.
it?
I I never knew. Have you guys been like to Europe, like outside the country?
I've never been to Europe.
I've been to Aruba, Jamaica, and I think I was in the Philippines for like an hour.
So have you tried, let's say, are you guys like were you guys like Dorito eaters or like Snickers or something like that? Or Twix?
I
I
have,
just
yeah,
I
yeah.
just
Now,
finished, I
On
just
occasion,
finished I just finished the frozen Milky Way bar. It was
yeah.
delicious.
So if you ate, I was a big Snickers person. Snickers and like the cheese Doritos
See,
and being
I don't eat nuts. Go ahead.
yeah, being when I was playing. So you can taste the difference between a Snickers here and a Snickers in Argentina. It's different. Or Doritos here and Doritos over there. They're different. And I didn't understand why until I'm home and I'm learning all of this stuff. And it's because there's certain ingredients that they're not putting in over there that they're putting in it here. So yes, the Snickers are going to be much richer and just works for you here, and it's going to be less over there. There's going to be a different taste.
did
But
it
I
taste
didn't
better?
understand it then. No, man, we the US. We the gluttons over here. We like our shit. You know what I'm saying? I taste that joke. I'm like, what the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, this crap. Where the real
So
butter
fake.
at? You eating cookies with no real like, yo, I need that real butter in my desserts. Yo, what is this crap?
I tell you what, when I was in Mexico, I stayed in Mexico. All the food was just better. Like everything just was better. Like I don't know if they got it straight off the farm or what. I don't know, but
I will say the food in Aruba it's actually safer to drink the tap water than it is to drink bottled water. So it's all about the irrigation system. So apparently, and I happened to read, I was reading about it because they were just giving away like Aquafina, and like Aquafina at like a freaking Quality Inn is like $9, but they didn't care. You can have all that. But one of the bellhops was around. They said if you really want good water, then drink this. And it looked like it was in those like CO2 bottles, but it said it was something that was native to the island. And I read the backstory behind it, and they did something in like the mid 70s that made their irrigation go through cleaner springs versus what all the other countries were doing, like America and stuff like that, going through a filtration system. So they said we go through our natural springs, so you can actually drink the tap. They said you could actually drink the water from the toilet, and that was even cleaner than what was in the Aquafina
Mm.
because of their
Aquafina's the worst.
natural water springs, and they use little to no filtration or anything like that, like the filtration system in America.
hmm,
I
Yeah,
felt healthier when I came back. I was like, oh my god, I feel healthier.
I
Sunburned.
did.
you
Everything.
ate a bag of Doritos and it all
I
came
do.
tumbling down
I
again.
I overdosed on what was it called? I overdosed on their rum punch.
Mm.
Oh, it's different, man.
Yeah.
You can taste the difference. You'll feel the difference from when I'm eating the food in Argentina and I come back here. My body it reacts to it. It changes. It's clean over there because it's naturally organic. Here you have to see organic labels on your stuff. There's no organic labels in Argentina.
It's
Because
just
it's
all
part of their
expected to be
president.
organic. I got you.
It's
I
it's
got
it's just cleaner there. And my wife she used to get this version of Chips Ahoy over there. They were called Pepitos. But you can taste the difference. Right? You look at the texture, you can taste the difference. You can tell that it had less than what they put in these Chips Ahoy over here. And it's a lighter taste, but when you're over there, you're like, it'll do. You know,
I'll tell you. I'll tell you one thing I did notice, and you don't get it too much over here at all. But when I've when I've been in other countries, I, when I've been in other countries, I would notice like if you get a Coca Cola, you get some type of soda, something like that. they don't have use high fructose corn syrup.
High fructose, yeah.
Oh,
They
you gotta
use
stay away
the
from that. I don't know
cane
why that's
syrup.
not banned here yet.
So,
I don't know
but
why.
I just want to put that out there. Little 2 cents of my culture.
Pick it up.
But over the past week, not the whole week, but I guess since Friday, Eagles fans here in Philadelphia, for whatever reason, been like really agitated about the Eagles starters not playing in preseason games. Um, Me personally, I don't have no problem with it, but I want to hear what you guys think. Like, you have an issue with it?
The only issue, if I were, I mean, if I were a paying fan, I'd have an issue with it because you're paying. I believe you're still paying the same price for a preseason game with no starters than you would for a regular season game. But that's been a complaint for the last like 30 years. And I don't know that you're ever going to see that again. But I think it, you know, unfortunately, I think it's part of like the season package. So if you're, if you're a season ticket holder, you're going to get those tickets, and they're not going to be discounted. So from that standpoint, I get it. Um, but I think the Eagles do enough between like having those open practices. I think they do enough that you can experience the preseason version of the Eagles. Like preseason is seeing who's going to finalize your 52-man roster, who's going to get cut, 53-man roster, who's going to get cut, and that's it. Like move on. Like there's nothing to complain about.
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way: two factors. One I just thought about, and the other one I thought about a while back. Nick Sirianni has not played his offensive starters since he became the head coach in Philadelphia. I don't think. So this is consistent with what he's always done, and he's been to a Super Bowl within 3 years. In his first 3 years, he was in the Super Bowl. All right. Not praising him as a coach. I'm just saying, maybe he knows what he's doing. That a little bit. The other thing is, since the NFL took the preseason from 4 to 3 games, a lot of teams have been keeping their starters out the game, at least their star players out of the game, out of the preseason game. With saying no need for them to play. Um, Rob, do you feel like it's better for? And I know football is a different sport than basketball, but do you feel like it's better for players of that level to get into a preseason game? I mean, does the risk outweigh the reward, or does the reward outweigh the risk?
I understand what they're trying to do, but I think it's to the detriment of the players and the rhythm to start the season. There's nothing like a game, right? You can practice all you want, but when you get in the game, there's nothing like the adrenaline, everything that comes along with it. You can have a scrimmage game; it's not the same. Me playing pickup and then playing a real game is not the same. Guys are going harder. It's a whole different level. And I feel like when you take that long break and you're not in it, and then you thrust yourself in there and that's when more injury, that's where I think the risks come from. But if you're kind of, practicing and you're going hard, you're playing these games, you're prepared to move like that. It's kind of like not doing something for 2 weeks and then it's like, hey, you're gonna go play a game, Rob. And now I got to take my muscles from just chilling, and now they're supposed to be firing on all cylinders like this. That's where your injuries are going to happen. I go and try to sprint and pull a hamstring. That's when I feel like that happened. I don't know if you listened to Chad Johnson. He's like, man, I took all the reps because I was the same way. If I wasn't playing well in practice, I wasn't going hard, I don't feel prepared for the game. I got to get my reps in. And you know how it is in football, especially with quarterbacks. You think Tom Brady ever let freaking Garoppolo get a rep? Hell no. Why am I gonna let you see this dude?
I
I'm
think
not trying to I'm not trying to do. I'm trying to make sure I'm ready and firing on all cylinders on Sunday when the season starts. And you can look at we've been to the Super Bowl and should have won, but you look at last year, everybody's like, oh, we winning, but there was always something going on, man. There was always something there. Like you're winning, but there was always a problem, and because we were winning, they were masking. It was masking the issue. They thinking everything's okay, but no, you're barely rent. You're squeezing by. You're just squeezing by. And then what happened? It reared its ugly head later on, and we paid for it because those problems were never taken care of during the season because we were winning and everybody's happy. I'm like, no, I don't feel it. And I said that. Jalen Hurts didn't play well at all. He needed to play the preseason. We need to see what you improve on last year.
and to piggyback on that injury front, I mean, it started with what Aaron Rodgers, blowing up his Achilles. Nick Chubb a couple weeks later. All of a sudden, you had like six running backs with torn ACLs. Um, I, I I I I lean towards what Rob was saying as far as like you need to get your reps in, but you also got to get stronger. And if you notice, the last like 6 or 7 seasons, like you've seen absolute garbage football the first 4 weeks from everybody.
Yeah,
But
it's a waste.
but I think that it's all by design because ever since gambling has taken over all the sports, and the NFL has admitted this, they love parity, right? So yeah, we can have. They don't want the mega teams of the 80s and the 90s, which I get, but then I don't get. You know what I mean? Because I think you have to have a team or two that everybody's rooting for and everybody that's rooting against. That's how you create the buzz and everything like that. You create people wanting to come to games whether the team sucks or not. But just between that and the Thursday night football games, it it just doesn't make for a good product. But I think they're okay with it as long as everybody makes it to the playoffs, because that's when playoff NFL football isn't bad, providing that you have all your players in there. You know what I mean? But I just think this all kind of is done with a little bit of purpose for creating parity, for continued creative parity.
Maybe, maybe it could be the case. I mean, that's a lot of a lot of things got to go the right way. You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't though. If everybody's playing like mush, okay, that's great. Everybody's equal. Now we're gonna see who comes out. That's why you keep.
But see, here's the thing though. Like, you're not wrong, right? But once you get to week 13, 14, 15, week 10, nobody cares about how you were playing, how everybody was playing terrible first few weeks of the season. Nobody talks about that. They talk about it in preseason, in the first few weeks of the season, but they don't talk about it no more.
Which is true, but how many teams now have gone like 14-1, minus let's say the Eagles a couple times. But there's not too many teams that are like juggernauts. Like when you had like the 15-1 49ers and the 14-2 Giants or whatever. You don't see a lot of that anymore. You don't see like the juggernaut team just breezing through the regular season, making it through the playoffs. It's like, you know, one team could be a juggernaut and go 4-0 and lose two guys, and now all of a sudden they're 4-3 and in the middle of the pack. That's what they want.
Well, yeah, I get. See, I don't want to disagree with you, but I'm kind of thinking about how what were the Eagles 14-3 a couple years ago?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
13-4 maybe something like that.
No, they were 13. No, they were 14-3.
14-3.
I think that was the first year they were under the 17 game schedule.
And then last year the Niners were like 13-4 or something like that.
Yeah, but
So
still, even with those teams, like the 49ers were 13-4, but did it feel like the 13-4 Montana 49ers. You know what I mean? Like there's always that like, you know what? Are they a Super Bowl team or will the Eagles like there was you, no team is guaranteed to make it to the Super Bowl based on what they've had in the regular season versus what was more so in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like the Cowboys, the Niners, the Packers in the '90s, how dominant they were, Niners in the '80s, Giants. Um, it was a different time, but you also, it's not, I'm trying to stay away from philosophy, right? But you that is also like think about your life at that time, like you might have been a kid where life, your teenage years and all like that, which was a fun time in life, right? These kids today, like these teenagers today, this is the Eagles and the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Niners. Those are their juggernauts now. You know what I mean? Like the records are the same. The records are still the same, but they're going to feel the same way about the juggernauts when they're our age as we do about their juggernauts now. It's that comparison of
Yeah.
errors. Let me stop.
What was that?
Well,
Oh,
that's I had to meet Rob real quick.
it's
It's
a,
all
it's
right.
a,
We got you, Rob. We got
it's,
you.
it's it sounds like the Indy 500.
So, Rob, while that's happening over, Rob, I'm going to take this comment real quick. Mad Optics Productions says this is a business. Why would I put $200 million asset out with all the risk of injury against guys not necessarily the best on the opposing team? If it was best on best, sure, but it's not.
Which is true, but then you want that $200 million asset winds up blowing his ACL in week 4.
Yeah, I think here's my thing. You got to look at the numbers. How many catastrophic injuries have there been? I think that's what they should do. Look at the numbers. All right, how many catastrophic injuries to top players has there been in the preseason? And then how many of them happened in like the first couple weeks of the season? And then compare the two.
And also
Because I
in
think it's
in
more
that
that first part of the season as opposed to the
It's
preseason.
always the first part of the season.
also in that test, I would like to see what the numbers were like when they did play them in the preseason for that series or for that half or whatever the case may be when
Yeah.
it was 4
And
games.
did the injury go down in that first half of the
Right.
season?
Yeah. I would like to. Yeah. Exactly. I would like.
I think you would see that it does. I mean, we don't know the numbers, but I think it would be in favor of that because there's nothing when you don't play, yo. That's when you're at the most injury risk. That's just a scientific fact, bro. Me being a professional athlete, I'm telling you, and in Argentina, everybody played for those top 4 spots, right? Because the top 4 spots, you got to buy you got to buy for the first round. So you will automatically jump the first round play just straight to the quarterfinals. So that came with 2 weeks of no games. 2 weeks. And I hated it because we were in first place. Like we were rolling. When you rolling, you just want to keep playing. You don't want to stop the momentum. Like I'm like, yo. And then you sit down and you gotta wait 2 weeks. You're practicing and practicing. That's where injury because you practicing. People are getting frustrated going against the same people, and crap happens. And now you're forced to fill it with games because you got to give us games, or you're going to lose some folks here.
Mhm.
So I remember one year the coach thought it was a good idea to play this team in the same city that we just saw them so many times that year. We saw them in preseason. They was in the same conference. We saw them like 4 times, like 3 times during the year. And I told the coach, I said, Coach, he's like, we're going to play this game because we had the 2 weeks. We're going to play this game uh, against these guys, to stay. So we get a game in. I said, Coach, listen, I don't think this is a good idea. I really don't. Turns out we're playing this game 2 in the morning. It was a bad idea, bro. It was a
Two in the
bad
morning.
idea.
Who plays at
Why
two
are
in
we
the
Listen,
playing
morning?
at 2 in the morning?
no, in the morning. So it was like 9, 10, 10 o'clock, something. I don't know why we played that early, but we had to play it in the morning. And it was a night, it was a disaster. I got this guy from Puerto Rico, uh, Danny Santiago, played in the NBA. Did it sound familiar? So,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
wearing the goggles.
yeah.
This guy threw the ball. I don't remember what happened. I think I fouled him. I was in and knocked his goggles off. He was mad. He threw the ball at me. We get into it. Coach wound up getting into it. I was like, yo, see, it turns into a whole mess. I was like, Coach, I try to tell you, man. Like, it was
Everybody just frustrated.
a bad idea.
Turn into a
Right,
third
right.
into
They
the
want to
knife
be in
fight.
bed. They gotta get out here and play.
We done saw these dudes like 6 times this year. This, nothing good could come out of this.
That would be like the Eagles playing like the Giants in preseason.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
do it, man. But
Can't do
I
that.
just think you gotta play, man. You gotta play. I want to play. If I'm a player, I'm a star player. I'm Jalen Hurts. I want to play, even if it's the first two
Oh,
series.
I'm sure he wants to play.
So would you be opposed if the NFL reversed, went back to a 16 game schedule and re-added the fourth preseason game? You'd be okay with that?
Jump me,
Um,
yes, me.
Both of you.
I'm thinking it don't even. Does it need to be 4 preseason? It can only be a couple. But play.
But I think that's the issue. Is the coach's argument is you want to get as many, because you want to account for when a player has a bad day, but you want to see them on their best day, so you want as many opportunities as possible, which I get. But I think, how was it back in the day? It was the first preseason game every the starters played like a quarter, right? The
The first
second game they
no,
played a half.
it used to be the first preseason game they would play a quarter,
Yeah,
and then
like
it kind of dwindled down to like the first couple of series.
Right.
yeah.
Then the
And then the
second,
second.
then the second preseason game they would play like the quarter. Third preseason game they would play the half, and they wouldn't play at all, or might play a
Just
down
like
or
the
a
first
drive.
series. Yeah,
I
just
mean,
like
Yeah,
the first
I
series.
don't see why you can't do, like, if it's three preseason. All right, have them play like a series, or just have them play a quarter in the first game, have them play a half in the second game, and don't play them in the third game. I don't see why that's so difficult.
Yeah, see, there's nothing wrong with that because then that's kind of like a bye week.
Right, a bye week to heal up from the first 2 weeks, then you get into.
Yeah,
And I get that there's been a lot of collective bargaining in like how practices are run, and how often you can hit in a given week, and da 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 da. So I don't know if that kind of ties into like play. There's been so much with like lawyers and agents the last like couple decades, to reduce injury. Um, that this is kind of what the result of that. You know what I mean? And not to mention the rule change with the kickoffs.
yeah,
yeah. Out that.
yeah. Well, now that I've seen it for a couple weeks, I'm like, yeah.
I mean, I see. It's creative. I see how like you're encouraging the run back, but you're also substituting getting injured on the kickoff. Dude, I still remember being the wedge blocker on kickoffs. Pretty much all of high school. Our job, we had two wedge. All our job was. I remember Coach Gillenthal. We were like, I want you to go up there and I want you to dive and break their ankles. I was like, okay, coach. You know what I mean? So like that, we're running our butts off, whatever, and we didn't care where the ball was. We're trying to break that wedge. You know what I mean? That was our whole job. And now
Mm.
you don't even have that. You just have like, okay,
Wedge
wait
busted.
till you with the wedge busters. Remember that? Oh my, that was the only part of. I loved kickoff. I hated kick returning because we were never able to form that damn wall that he was trying to create. Um, but wedge busting was freaking amazing. It was absolutely. It relieved a lot of stress. caused a lot of concussions, and yeah, fun times. But we have a different game nowadays.
I was on the end. I was on
Yeah, you were all
the sideline.
he was on the sideline. He was on the sideline. Yeah, go get him, stand up.
I'm not busting any wedges.
I'm coming off. He's like, yeah.
Man, I didn't even like defense. You're not getting me to run full speed.
I've never seen you play defense. I think you played defense on our offensive days. No.
I played. I was safety. And you were going there on my senior year. They moved me to defensive end. And my size, yeah, I should be a great DM, but I didn't like defense. I was the worst defensive end. I didn't have a single sack all season. Nothing. Yeah, I got like one interception because I was tall, because I jumped up, tipped it, got it,
Yeah.
But other than that, that was the highlight of my defense.
Did you get close to getting a sack?
Heck no. No. You got to go against them big ass offensive tackles, bro.
Yeah.
No. We didn't have a weight program there. We didn't. I mean, now maybe if this was when I was in college and I had a weight program, and I started getting, jabbing in high school. I mean, I was a big kid, but this one kid they had went on to play at Penn State. Big offensive tackle guy. I forget his name. Played for Central. Man, I tried to run around. My man was just manhandling me. Like, I didn't get anywhere near that quarterback, man. Come on. Absolutely not. I don't have the defensive gene. All I want to do is catch the ball. Just throw me the ball. I was actually pretty good at blocking, but I didn't like blocking. I just want to catch it. It's the pass play.
You just want to catch the ball. Just throw me the ball.
I get excited. Miguel, no. I'm in the head. He's like 80 flood. I'm like, yes, let's go, baby. We only had 2 passing plays.
Power right, 80 flood. Power right,
70 flood.
70 flood. We did have a fake 32 quick trap.
Everything was a 46 belly. That was the money play right there. 46 belly.
46 belly. We had a screen. No, we did have one screen pass though.
That wasn't going
but
to me.
We never had the person. We never had the person.
No, you know what?
Hold on.
This is going to me.
So we had a screen pass. I said, shit, it wasn't going to me.
You know what I mean?
No, we ain't had no screen pass. No.
My senior year, they opened it up. We had a pro right and a pro left, so I got to split out. But all we had from that was a hitch, a slant, and a go. That's it.
But didn't you? But so Schumer, did you have Schumer your last year, or did he retire after that?
No, Schumer was the coach.
He implemented a slant.
Yeah, we had a pro right, a pro left.
So our coach, his name was Bruce Schumer, and he always hugged like, yes, you guys got it. But he ran everything from like a pro, like we had
wing
like
T. We did wing T.
We did the wing T, and I don't know how many fullbacks and running backs that we always had, but I remember in my freshman year of high school, this was '94. For the season, not the championship game, not Thanksgiving Day, for the season, we went 9 for 17 passing. For the season.
Listen, my senior year, I had 11 catches, 136 yards, and 3 touchdowns or something. I'm like, dude, these guys in these other leagues had that one game. That was my whole season. And I only dropped maybe one pass. I only dropped passes. I only had 11 catches my senior year. But, God had a plan for me, because if they was throwing the ball and I had 50 catches or so, I probably would have been somewhere playing football.
Playing defensive end for
No, never. Never. They would have been like, you are the worst. You are the worst.
He would have had 11 tackles in college
Coach,
football.
he was doing the thing to me.
Right.
You see them big 6'8", 330 pound
They
man.
fast too,
Yeah,
and they
and
fast.
yeah, they were fast. They were pretty fast.
No, I'll stick to catching the ball. I'll stick to catching the ball.
We're running short on time, but we still got some time left. Miguel,
Sir,
your Phillies are they back on track? Are they they were slipping and sliding pretty heavy for a few weeks there
the,
after the
the,
All Star break.
this it's indicative of the baseball season. You know what I mean? This is what baseball is. Baseball is the only sport where you can go on a 13 game losing streak and still be in it to win it at the end. Um, Dog days of summer, all the other cliches, it's July and August. I think they're back on track. Um, Although I think Harper scares me from the standpoint of how streaky he's been because he's either extremely hot or extremely not. Um, and haven't heard much from him the past couple weeks. And granted, he's coming back from injury still. We still have a couple guys that are coming back from injury. I think it's safe to say that Taiwan Walker is a bust. I was hopeful. I was really hopeful,
Pretty
but
well.
I think you can only get lucky with getting a Phillies player and having a Mets player play for the Phillies and be successful. There's only a few that it's been successful with.
True.
So I think they're back ish. Ask me the question again in September.
Only a couple weeks away. Only a couple weeks away.
Man, it's like 2 weeks away.
um, shoot, my daughter has her first day of the freshman orientation tomorrow.
Mm.
Go figure.
Less than 12 hours away. Um, Real quick, the Council Rock Newtown Little League World Series team lost today. They are eliminated
Oh,
championship contention at the Little League World Series. They were actually also in the Little League World Series like 10 or so years ago.
I was gonna say that name sounded familiar.
Yeah, they the same Little League organization. So, well, congratulations to them, man. Getting to the Little League World Series is that's a big deal. Like, not a lot of people can say that they've been to the Little League World Series, like for real. Mike Tyson. This is the one I kind of wanted to get to. I love boxing. I'm a big fan of boxing. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson are set to fight again. I think it's November 11th, somewhere around that time.
November 15th.
Excuse me, November 15th. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. November 15th. They were supposed to fight back in July. Mike Tyson had that health scare on the plane. Mike Tyson, of course, known as the baddest man on the planet, good 25, 30 years ago. Uh, Jake Paul right now is I, I forgot what his nickname is, but he's the dude that's getting into the boxing ring again, and he's fighting people. He's only lost one time. He's a YouTuber. His brother's a YouTuber. His brother fought Floyd Mayweather and lost. Um, Guys, is this something that you guys want to see?
No,
What? Why was it postponed? What happened?
Mike Tyson had a health scare. He was on a plane and something happened. I forgot what it was, but he had a health scare.
he
And
he
they
was he
decided to
was
push the
dizzy
fight back.
dizzy and nauseous from the flight, and he had to take a break.
He had like, didn't he end up having like pneumonia or something?
Sure.
I don't want to see it. I mean, Mike is what 50 what 57?
Yeah, you gotta be close to 60.
Like, come on, man. What is this? The real life Rocky 6? Is that what this is? He training for power. He got a couple few haymakers to get him out of there. Is this that's what we doing? Now, even at 57, I feel like if he could actually last a couple rounds in there, he'll knock that kid out.
I was more impressed with the fact like Mike Tyson got himself in the fight. He looks great, but
Yeah.
But why? Why do you have to? Like, is it about the money? Like, what's the sole purpose of this?
I
They don't
think
get
it's about
money.
money, publicity. Like I'm not saying that he needs money, either one of them, but I think it's probably about a paycheck. I mean, because they're probably gonna get a hefty payday for it. It's on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, I believe you already have access to it.
Oh, it's
Um,
supposed to be Netflix live,
yeah,
like
yep,
the Tom Brady roast.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, and the Cat Williams stand up, yeah. So I'll check it out if I'm still a Netflix subscriber. I mean, I do have an interest in it because I have watched a few of Jake Paul's fights, and not that he's fought anybody of top notch caliber, but I am kind of, I don't want to say impressed. I'm kind of intrigued by at least it looks to me like he's gotten better over time, which he should because he's trained. But to the story of going from being a YouTuber to you're in the fight game now. Like I said, you ain't fighting the top notch guys, but going in there against guys that can fight.
I can't get into boxing. I haven't got into boxing since Tyson, since Lennox Lewis, and all them guys. And I think part of it is there's so many titles, and there's so many. It's like it's even with like fake wrestling, even with like WWE. Now you have like the undisputed world champion, then you have the WC. It's like it's just too many titles. Like, why does everybody fight each other and they already have like 12 belts?
I agree. There's like 3 different federations and each one like 3 titles like that.
Right.
It just need to be one jump, like one jump.
Go back to the original Rocky and have just one undisputed champion.
Yeah.
So I agree with you guys. There's way too many organizations now, way too many titles. I wouldn't mind if they just went back to the 4 or the 3 or the 4. I know that I think the IBO was kind of wishy-washy, but with the WBA, the IBF, and the
IBF,
WBO,
WBC.
whatever it is, if they can go back to just that, and then having an
But
undisputed champion if they have all 3 belts.
even then, what was the difference between the 3 federations?
Rule,
Yeah.
It's like you fight 12 rounds.
uh,
With rules, it's like what's the you beat each other's ass for 12 rounds.
it's like I think each federation would have a different rule or time frame of if you're the champion, you have to defend your belt in this amount of time.
Mhm.
So like, if you're not defending all 3 titles at the same time, you're going to have to find time to fight, certain fight. I don't know.
You know what I don't think everybody knows, and they think old boy just jumping in the ring like trying his luck. I don't know which one of the brothers it is, but one of them they have boxing past.
They have what?
One of them has a boxing past.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know which brother it is, but one of them was
the
like
older.
Golden Gloves or something like that. So they're not. One of them was not like a complete newbie, like I've never been in a boxing.
I feel like it was the older one.
That's what I thought too.
The older, I forgot what his name is. I forgot what his name is, but
This is Jake and Logan. I don't know which one's that.
Logan, there it is. Logan's the older one. That's the one that fought Floyd Mayweather.
Okay.
I think he was the one that had more of the background.
Yeah.
But to get in there with didn't he get in there with like Tyson Fury's brother or something? I think didn't he? I forgot who he lost.
His nephew. He lost to Tyson Fury's nephew or something like that.
Is that okay? I'm kind of intrigued by it. Like I want to see. Like I was so, and I don't know why. Like fooling myself, but I was excited to see the Roy Jones Mike Tyson fight, even though I didn't think it was going to be like a good fight. I was just excited to see 2 guys that I enjoy watching in the ring go at it. Right. To me, like if you were a fan of Boondocks, I called that the Grandpa Freeman versus Colonel Stinkmeaner fight. It was 2 old men fight. Okay.
Classic.
This one I'm somewhat intrigued because Tyson, he has the professional pedigree of a champ. He has the championship pedigree, undisputed championship pedigree.
30
But now
years ago.
60, and he's fighting a youngin that. I mean, we all feel like we see Mike Tyson in the training video. We're like, Mike Tyson, man, if he hit me, man, I probably. Does he still have that power? Does he still have that dynamite in his hands?
Hell
We
yeah.
won't know. I don't think anybody's going to get knocked out.
I think I know
If
what
he
this
if
is.
he if he get caught with one of them, he gonna go
If
sleep.
if he gets caught with one, but what I'm saying is, does he still have it?
Oh, Justin.
Justin wants to see a YouTuber get his butt whooped. That's what it comes down
Yeah, but as long as it ain't me.
to.
Here, here's here's a question, controversial topic,
Uh-oh.
but I think
Yes,
it's
bring
some,
it. Yes,
but I think it's something we need to dive into
Uh-oh.
bring it.
because transgender athletes in women's sports.
I'm against it.
I I I agree. I have two I have two daughters, so it's like, what am I asked my daughter because she's going to be faced with it. My daughter is pretty outspoken. I want her to stay that way because
Mm,
I'm looking at all of these women, the women who have done it already and maybe retired, the women who are currently competing, and even I'll throw some over to men. Man, the men need to speak up too. But all of these women who have been there and done that and probably doesn't have as much to lose as the women who are currently competing. Where's the why is everybody so silent? The only
right.
person speaking up is the girl Ryder Gaines. And like I want my daughter to be able to say, hey, yo, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not comfortable with a male in the locker room when I'm changing. Like this.
Right. And it's definitely something that we can definitely dive into it next week because we could go on for an hour about this, like and just because you may not agree with them competing together, like that doesn't mean that you are get like I don't hate because as soon as you disagree with something and that they call you a phobia, a phobic or whatever, I don't know, they say you're hating and no,
Transphobic.
I don't think that people that were born male should be competing against against women. I just don't.
Well, and I think too, because even the Olympic Committee has talked about how to measure it. Because I think there were several stories before, like the swimmer at Penn, and
Mhm.
how well, if the person is transitioning, you have to. I think the metric was like they have to have like testosterone in their body, so that way, because again, what it comes down to is not what sex you are. What it really comes down to is, well, I mean, it does come down to what sex you are, but biologically, male versus female, there are differences. That's not saying that a female is bad or worse than a man. It's science. You know what I mean? It's just the base part of science. It's no negative one towards the other. Um, but I think you'll start to hear more of an outcry when, like you said, Rob, like if you see my buddy has a joke. He's like, I want to see them do it in UFC first, and then you know, tell me how that goes, and tell me that females can play in any sport as males.
Well, there was one, and that in their first fight, they freaking bludgeoned this girl. It
Mm-hmm.
was bad. You should have seen her face. It
Mm-hmm.
looked like she was mauled by a bear or something. That athlete did end up losing to someone, but when you look at the differences, um, I don't know if I'm recalling this correctly, but they told me in swimming, right? You look at 100-meter racing,
Mm-hmm.
you look at the time for the fastest male, right? That was Usain Bolt, 9.65, I think.
You
Sound
said
like
swimming?
For the 100 meter, hundred
Oh, track.
meter sprint. Yeah,
Yeah, it was the same boat. Yeah,
and then 9.65, I think it is. And then
something
you
like that.
look at FloJo is like 10.4, I think. Damn near a whole second. But then you get in the pool and you look at the record for the, I think it's 50 meter
Hmm.
freestyle.
Hmm.
The woman's record is 20 seconds slower. Can you imagine? Like
So, so,
20
so here,
seconds, like 1,000,
right.
2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. She's still swimming. 6,000, 7,000, 8,000.
So,
She's still not here yet. I'm out the water and dried off by the time she get
right.
back.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing that so track and field, the difference is like what, a second,
Mm-hmm.
2 seconds. But in swimming, because of I guess the way the bodies are made and formed, it's 20 seconds. So what would you say that then there's certain sports that women are equal to men?
well,
Yeah,
I
maybe
would say
Or could
maybe archery or shooting.
well, let me say that your example of the track and field, the time is so different. The time is so close only in certain events. Like the higher you get, like the more distance you get, the times get a little further
Yeah,
apart.
because then you look at 400. I think for men is what, like 47, and
Right. And the
for
men's like
women is like
53,
50.
something like that. 43
Oh,
something.
40. Okay, and then for women is like what, 47,
40, it might be like
47. They could get
47
like
something. It
47.
might be something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
the further you get
you
it,
know,
it gets further away.
but then you look at tennis. Serena said it, like, yo, I couldn't beat, like, this dude's the serve. They're serving 100 something miles per hour.
no,
Or you look at golf. Like, I'm going to drive. You're not going to beat me because my drive is going to be longer than yours. You're not competing
But
with
the
my
women set
drive.
up in a whole different place
Yeah.
to drop the ball. They have the
So
women.
so I I just don't even get when people preach this, like, equality. So, like, this is not trying to act superior to another gender,
Mhm.
but we are physically superior. That's just the way it is. There's
but you know
no
what
there's
though?
no equality there. There's women's sports and there's men's sports for a reason.
Right. I think because of everything that has happened, and I'm part of EDI, and DEI initiatives where I work at. So I'm seeing like a lot of this, a lot of the conversation and everything like that. So I don't think um, that I think there's been a lot of overcorrection. You know what I mean? Like, should we have equality? Absolutely. Should women be paid the same as men? I believe in certain respects, yes. But now it's like almost like, can a woman replace a man physically? And that's the where it's like, okay, well, what are we really trying to correct here? You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to the physical design, the physical prowess, however you want to word it, men were created for one thing, women were created for another thing. What your sexual preference is irrelevant in this whole thing. And I think that it's like a lot of the groups feel like, well, I can compete just like a man can. I'm like, you may be able to compete minds, but maybe not physically, because again, your bodies are built different. That doesn't make you less of a human being. You're just different. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of groups just don't they can't handle being, or be, the word different is like, I'm being ostracized. You're putting me in a box. It's like, no, we're not putting you in a box. You're just built different. It's that's all it is. And how you feel on the inside, whether you want to, be with the same sex, whether you want to have multiple sexes, or you don't want to have any sex, that's your business. But when it comes to like being an athlete and a physical athlete competing in a sport, there are differences. Not good and bad, just different.
There's high school boys run women's Olympic 100 meter times.
True.
True.
That's
True.
Nobody in the Olympics in men's runs a 10.
True. You know what? I don't know if I said this last week on the thing. The person that came in last place in the 100 meters this year ran a 9.91. When Carl Lewis won in 88, he ran a 9.92. So Carl Lewis would have came in dead last place.
You look at the evolution.
Mm-hmm. And granted, things are better as far as like, you know, training, recovery, medication, and all that stuff. Stuff is better. So like both sides are getting better, but they're still, it's like they're going like this, not like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm gonna put this out there. This is grounding because they put this in my daughter's school.
Uh-oh.
I'm tired of seeing the all gender bathroom. Why do they put all gender on it? If it's only one toilet in there, it could just be bathroom. Why do you have it? If it's only one toilet in there, why does it even say men's and women's?
Right. It's just
Like,
a bathroom.
It should just be bathroom. Like, I don't get it.
Laboratory.
That's my little thing. It's like all genders. It's okay. What other person is going in there?
I love. We gotta work with Rob on his transitions because it's like we started off with "How you doing?" He's like, "Karl Malone's a pedophile." I'm like, what? I'm like, how?
We still don't know how he's doing.
We still don't know how he's doing. Like, how's your day? He's like, I'm pissed off. Karl Malone's a pedophile. He impregnated a 13-year-old.
He said, "Look, I didn't want to go here, but
I know. Now we got to prepare. I don't want to go here, but and then he's like, we were
I know
going.
he was kind of quiet in the group chat,
right, and then we were talking about the Little League World Series. He's like, you know what? Let me bring up something controversial. We're like, Little League World Series. He's like, all gender bathrooms. I'm like, what? Dude, we got to work on your transitions. Just a little.
You're right.
Just
I apologize. Today was one of them days.
Breathe, man, gotta breathe. Look, we gonna get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us on the CheckSwing Podcast.
He's gonna group text. He's gonna text us tomorrow. He's like, I freaking hate Folgers. What?
With Coach Santa, the Hall of Famer Rob Battle, and myself. We'll talk to y'all next week, right here on the CheckSwing Podcast.
The Folgers crystals.